All right. So let's look at what love does look like in a relationship,
Sure.
if love exists.
Yes.
So both of us know that each of us is injured in love, in fact, and until we're perfect, we'll be unable to be completely kind, compassionate and understanding with each other on every matter.
Yes. So this is the aspect of love where we're making some allowances for each other's condition.
But not compromise.
But not compromises.
So let's talk about the difference between allowance and compromise.
Well, a compromise is that I allow you to have the difference in condition, you know, the aspect where you're being unkind in certain circumstances, but I don't say anything about it and I don't do anything about it and I don't act upon it and I just allow it to continue. That's a compromise. A person who allows a condition without compromise states, hey, babe, you've been unloving to me there. But they don't run off and find the next person to love just because that one compromise existed, and particularly when that person has a desire to address the particular aspect of unkindness that you've raised with them. So in other words, they realise that both are works in progress. And as a result, and they both have a desire, both would need to have a desire to work towards love, towards truth and towards humility in the relationship under these circumstances. And therefore, when one of them fails in love, or is not perfect in love, or you could say sins with regard to love, the other makes allowances for that sin without actually compromising on the sin.
Yeah.
In other words, they don't allow the sin to be gotten away with, but it is addressed and raised in the relationship.
So basically you're saying you don't punish the other person.
No, because God doesn't punish either.
An error. Yep. You don't like hold it over them and use it to guilt them into other issues. You're not manipulative.
Not manipulative. However, you may withdraw from a relationship under certain circumstances.
Sure.
So that's not a punishment, that's just an aspect of love.
Yep.
If you find that the person's cheated on you, for example, and you still love them, they obviously have to work through some issues themselves first to find out why they did such a thing. And if you stay with them, it's highly likely they will do it again unless they address those issues. And you might decide out of love for yourself and love of them to withdraw from the relationship. And when I say withdraw from the relationship, you may even live in the same house for a period of time with them. You just don't have the relationship, the sexual relationship with them. And you withdraw from the relationship waiting for them to address that particular problem.
Yeah.
And a person who truly loves the other will allow these kind of compromises even to the point of someone cheating on them. They will.
Yeah. So basically, when we love, we are humble and truthful about the issue. So we've already talked in the previous questions that we're going to raise the issue of love when we see it out of an honour for truth. We're going to be humble to our own emotions about what's occurred in our partner. Say the partner's had the
affair or whatever,
or just even
just a little thing.
I don't know.
They yelled at us.
Yes, something like that. We're either end of the spectrum. Hey, we'll feel our feelings about that.
Yes,
but we'll be truthful about it.
We will. We won't let them we won't just ignore it.
No, we won't.
So we won't compromise with regard to issue of truth.
No,
we won't compromise with regard to issues of humility, but we will make allowances with regard to the person being a work in progress.
So we'll actually be quite compassionate that the person, hey, you're a work in progress, there's this issue.
You're working through this issue. I'm not going to let you get away with the issue.
But I'm not going to expect you to be perfect before I love you
And I'm not going to expect you to work through it tomorrow, but you need to be working through it.
Diligent, yeah.
Right? Now, this is what I mean by an allowance. So it's a compromise of a kind. But when I say of a kind, it's really an allowance of the condition of the person, allowing for the fact that they desire growth. So if we look at the way God treats us, the way God treats us is that every sin that we engage has a penalty. No matter whether God loves us or not, it's immaterial. Each sin we engage has a penalty. So inside of the relationship, each sin we engage from God's perspective has a penalty. Right, so you cheat or are immoral on your partner, there is a penalty associated with that sin.
Yep.
That will begin to occur inside of a relationship. One of those penalties is a lack of trust. Right? You're not going to be able to establish trust again without addressing the reason why you took the action that was the sin. the sin being, in this case, the cheating on the partner, you would need to address why you did it, emotionally address why you did it, for God to be satisfied. Not necessarily for your partner to be satisfied, but if your partner is near God, then your partner would also only be satisfied if you addressed the emotional injury that created your sin. Now, God allows you to go through that process and still loves you. And so your partner is capable of allowing you to go through that process and still loving you if they were perfected in love.
So this is where our question is, what does love look like when we both love each other in this relationship? And our very first point is actually, well, if we really love each other, we're going to make allowances for the fact that we don't love each other.
Correct. That we're not wholly perfect in love.
Yeah.
Now, eventually when we become at one with God, we will be perfect in love. But before that time, we are not going to be perfect in love. We cannot expect of ourselves or each other. We can expect, however, the desire to grow to that condition.
So within this, and we're going to talk about this again in a later question, but we're not making excuses for the lack of love.
Correct.
And I feel this is a very important point.
Allowances and excuses are very, very different things.
We're not saying, oh, well, neither of us is perfect, so...
So I'll let you get away with that as long as you let me get away with a few other things, and I can even let me get away with that.
It's Friday, it's been a big week, whatever.
You yelled at me, you had a bad day.
Yeah.
All these kind of things. We don't make allowances for these kind of things. We make allowances because the person has a desire to fix the problem.
Yeah.
If the person does not have a desire to fix the problem, then God does make no allowance. And so therefore we also should make no allowance.
Yeah, no, that's clear. That's clear.